Hello friends and welcome back to our homestead. Today my daughter and I are going to be partnering up to make a very special dinner, and it's going to be called SARMA. SARMA is a fermented cabbage roll-ups, very similar to golubtsi that my Ukrainian and Russian heritage, that's what we make. It's golubtsi, but that is made with fresh cabbage leaves, whereas sarma is made with fermented leaves. So if you remember my video that I made a couple of months ago, I forget how many months ago, and I fermented whole heads of cabbage in a big pot like that, and it's been fermenting sitting in my cold basement for several months now, and they are beautifully fermented, and we're going to be using those fermented cabbage leaves to make these roll-ups, which is called sarma. So let me show you the ingredients and how we're gonna do it, how we're gonna make them. It's super easy and a delicious evening kind of a meal. And these are the ingredients we need. So first of all, we're gonna be needing the cabbage, and I have a head and a half of cabbage. It's a medium-sized cabbage. Then also we're gonna need rice, and I have white rice that's been triple washed and rinsed, and it's just sitting in water, kind of like softening up. But it's uncooked, it's not cooked rice. Then we're gonna need meat. So normally sarma is made half pork and half beef, but listen, in reality, you can use any kind of ground meat you want. And we have grass-fed, beautiful ground beef, and that's what we're using. Sarah, you know what we forgot? We forgot bacon. We have to go get bacon.
Bacon.
We need bacon. All right, we're gonna go get bacon, but let me show you a few other ingredients. Okay, the other ingredients, we're gonna need carrots. We're gonna shred some carrots. And how many? You can put as little or as many as you like, but we have 3 because we're making many roll-ups. Then we're gonna need an onion, 1 large onion, or in our case, we have 2 small red onions, 1 large bell pepper. That is actually optional, but I do like the flavor of that. We're gonna need some fresh garlic, and we have 4 cloves of garlic. The more, the better. That's how we like it. And for spices, obviously salt and pepper. But guess what? Not too much. You know why? Because this is already salty, and we don't wanna overdo it. Plus bacon. Bacon is gonna be a little salty. But we will be using paprika, and then we have what? Is this smoked? Yeah, that's smoked paprika, but regular smoked paprika will go. If you have fresh parsley, please, for the love, use fresh. But we don't have fresh. We have, actually, I'm gonna go check the garden. I may have some in the garden. Then I'm gonna be using some bay leaves just to throw in for flavor. And we're gonna be using vegeta. Vegeta is so common in Slavic cooking. It is dried up, yeah, it's really nice. It's dried up, crushed bunch of different vegetables. And it's very commonly used in Balkan cooking and also in Slavic cooking as well. So I'm gonna pause the video. I'm gonna go get some parsley, if I have it, and bacon.
Bacon.
All right, so yes, I find a nice pile of a bunch of fresh parsley still in my garden. And this is a home salted bacon. And how much? I'm gonna say probably, now if you're buying this in a store, I wanna say probably 3 or 4 slices, but in my case, I'm gonna be using only a chunk like this. Look how beautiful this is. Look, those beautiful colors. Isn't that nice? Okay, so probably like 2 ounces, that's it. Not much at all. And I'm gonna, because that's gonna be the base, that's gonna be the base of my sofrito, or as we call it, zajarka. So what I'm gonna do right now is I have a beautiful cast iron behind me, and we're gonna be, so Sarah, if you don't mind, I'm gonna cut a few things and I'm gonna pass them to you, and if you just start sauteing them, so go ahead, start it, and just pour, I wanna say, not yet baby, just pour like a tablespoon or so of olive oil on the bottom, just a little bit, so that way the bacon doesn't stick. Not much, that's perfect, that's it. All right, and let me give you cut up bacon, just beautiful bacon, and it's nicely salted. We did it from our homegrown pork and chop. What was their names again? I forgot. All right, go ahead, honey.
That's a great question.
Go drop them in the, and I'm gonna start cutting up other vegetables. Thank you. And just start sauteing them lightly. All right, while this is sauteing, I'm gonna cut up the onions. Also in the small chunks, it doesn't have to be very anything specific, but just cut them into small pieces. All right, honey, go ahead and add the onion to that as well. And I would recommend that you turn down the heat just a little bit because we don't want to burn things. And just lightly saute until everything turns nice and translucent. In the meantime, I'm going to take and I'm going to shred the carrots. And I'm going to shred them so they will cook down very nice in my sofrito, as we call it, zajarka. All right, honey, now all these shredded carrots, go ahead, add them together, and we're gonna just saute everything until the carrots get nice and soft. Hold on, let me scrape extra. Nice and soft. In the meantime, I'm gonna slice into little chunks red bell pepper. And you know, also that's optional. If you don't have it, you don't have to use it, but I have a fresh one, so I'm gonna use it. So stir this up and make sure that it's not too dry. If you have to add a little bit more oil, that's fine. Just drizzle a little bit more of olive oil. Otherwise, let it saute. I'm just gonna slice them. Okay. I think the fresh bell pepper adds a really nice flavor. But you know, if you don't have it, just paprika powder will work as fine as well. All right, so it's softening up nicely. And to this, I'm just gonna add the bell peppers. And again, go ahead, you're gonna stir them all up and make sure they're sauteing nicely together. All right, and let's get this parsley going. If you don't have fresh parsley, dried parsley probably would be good. And that was my first initial plan, but I remembered that I still have some growing in the garden. We're expecting the first frost to hit us this Saturday, Sunday, so everything that's left over will freeze. All right, so I have a nice bunch of parsley, and that's gonna be such a wonderful layer of flavor. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, throw that in the pot as well, and the garlic, I'm gonna crush it up as well. Garlic going in. I think I'm gonna need your little spoon expertise over here. Well, use a knife to kind of like the back of the knife, so you're not, yeah. Keep on going. Good job. Yeah, go ahead, squirt that in. Once you learn this recipe, you're gonna be a pro after this. It's gonna be super easy for you to make. All right. And this is pretty much the same thing what we do for golubцы. Just like I said, it's just the only difference is golubцы require fresh and we're using fermented. So mama always used to put, yeah, just stir that in. Make sure the heat is down so not burning. Mama used to put a little bit of tomato paste, but I'm gonna omit it this time. I'm not gonna put any. Do you want me to put some? You want me to put some tomato?
Put a
All
little
right,
bit.
I'm gonna
Just
put a
a
little bit. Okay. So let me see what I've got. I don't have tomato paste, but I do have some tomato sauce. So I'm gonna put probably like 3-4 tablespoons of tomato sauce. That's it. I think that's gonna be a good addition. But trust me, it's not necessary. It's totally not necessary. All right. So to this, let's start flavoring things, okay? To this, we're gonna be putting a couple of teaspoons, and I'm eyeballing it, of vegeta, okay? Vegeta has a little bit of salt, so we have to make sure that we're not overdoing it. And I'm gonna be putting a good teaspoon or so of paprika, because I think paprika is also a wonderful addition, all right? Also, we're going to be putting some black pepper, because why not? It's going to be delicious. So, all these layers of flavor. Go ahead, stir this all up, baby. And all these herbs and all these flavors are going to marry together, and with heat, they're going to release their flavors, and we can turn off the heat. I think the heat can be turned off. Go ahead, honey. So let it sit and cool off in a bit, because we need to start working on our other ingredients. All right, so let's mix the other ingredients. So obviously we're gonna need meat. And like I said, I have ground beef, but you can use ground pork and ground beef together or just ground pork, whatever you like. And I have 2 pounds in here, okay, 2 pounds. To this, I'm gonna be adding a cup of washed and white rice, and it's been soaking in water for about 25 minutes, maybe half an hour now. And it's just gonna expedite the cooking time. Plus, we always wash the rice until the water is nice and clean. All right. So to this, now we need to add the mixture of our sauteed vegetables, but I really want them to cool off a little bit. And there's nothing better than your hand to mix everything. If you like to wear a glove, hey, go for it. But I'm cooking for the family. I'm not cooking for anybody else, so I'm not gonna be wearing gloves. But you know, if I was cooking for somebody, right, that we were bringing a meal to someone or like a meal train or something, I probably would wear, you know, gloves, but because I'm doing this for just us, my hands are good enough. Now, at this point, you guys can decide if you want to add salt. I don't want to add salt, but baby, can you go grab some pepper? Because I do want to add some pepper because I want to flavor this, but I'm afraid to add too much salt because there's already salt in the bacon. There's salty. All right, hold on, hold on. All right, go ahead, a little bit more. Beauteous. All right, that's good. All right, let's bring in the vegetables in here.
Yeah, it's a learning curve.
I'm gonna need the spoon, honey. All right, so if you wanna just bring closer, and I'm gonna put all of these beautiful ingredients in here.
That looks so good.
It is good, isn't it? I'm gonna just leave literally maybe like a couple of tablespoons on the side. You know why? Because I like to put a little bit of this zajarka, sofrito, this zajarka on top. All right, so this is gonna stay here. So let me mix everything together as well. And this is gonna be our filling. No, just leave it here. Okay. And this is gonna be our filling for the cabbage. And the cabbage is already nice and soft. Why? Because it's been fermenting. So it's important that this cabbage is prepped ahead of time. You know, growing up, it was one of the most difficult things. It was to store cabbage. It was difficult to store cabbage because cabbage does not like to last even in your root cellar for a long time. So in Soviet times, you know, we could store onions and potatoes and beets and carrots, but cabbage was tough. So we found different ways.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. There's a cat screaming at the porch right now.
Oh, honey. Well, let her in, sweetie. Kitty cat wants to come home. Okay. So it was difficult to store cabbage, but guess what? If you fermented it, and then you can use it later in the season, in the cold of winter, and make this beautiful SARMA rolls. All right, so this should be fine. All right, so let's start stuffing them. All right. Okay, we're going to start by sprinkling a little bit of olive oil on the bottom. Maybe like a tablespoon, maybe 2, just to coat the bottom a little bit. That's perfect, that's it. And the reason why we want this is because we're gonna be taking some of these leaves on the bottom. If you wanna lift this up, take take that cabbage, the whole thing, take it out. And you're gonna take a few leaves and you're just gonna put them on the bottom. Like layer the bottom. Give me the whole, yeah, here you go. And just layer the bottom. So when they're cooking, they're not sticking to the bottom. That should be sufficient enough. That's it. We don't need any more. All right. And now we're going to be taking these leaves just like this, and look how easy they come apart. They're going to come apart very, very easily. And you can make gigantic roll-ups or you can make little ones. I prefer the big ones, but you know what? You can do little ones and big ones. It doesn't matter. So you're going to take what's going to fit. Hopefully this is in the camera actually. All right, you're gonna put it in here. You know what? Let me get a hold on a second, baby. Let me move this out of the way so we can do it on the. I'm gonna push this aside. Yeah, do it here. Put it down. It'll be easier for you. Go ahead, put it down. So go ahead, take a small amount. That's gonna be a tiny baby one. And you can roll it up any way you want to. It's really not gonna fall apart that much, but make sure it's nice and tight. And put it down in your pot on the bottom.
Oh,
right
it's
again.
an itty bitty baby.
You can make itty bitty or you can make the gigantic ones. You know, it's really up to you. I like to fold it a little. Oh, this one's falling apart. It's okay, forgive me.
It's alright, Jesus forgives you.
Yeah, it's
All
gonna
right.
stay. That's a tiny one. You're gonna have a hard time with that one.
It's okay, it's still gonna taste good.
I'm sure, but it's just gonna be difficult for you to roll it up. All right, I'm gonna take this one. This one's a little bit bigger. And again, you take a little bit of meat, not too much because it's gonna break the whole roll. So this is how I like to do it. See, you put a little bit.
And then you fold it in, and then
You fold it in. Go ahead.
Supposed to
Yeah,
roll it.
roll it in, fold it in, and roll, roll, roll. Oh, it's gonna be fine, baby. It's because it's fermented cabbage, so it's already like super genteel. But it's gonna be so delicious. It's gonna have that natural kind of like sour zing to it. It's gonna be slightly spicy because remember we put a little bit, well, you don't remember, but I do remember. I put a little bit of peppercorns when I was fermenting it, and I put juniper berries. Oh, look at you. You're a pro.
It's the Slavic in my blood, you know?
Yes.
Just naturally, I'm able to do this.
Yes. All right, good job, baby girl. Keep on rolling. We have lots to do, and then you know what?
Oh, so I'm doing all the work?
You are doing all the work. It's your night to cook.
Oh.
So then guess what? So when we're done with the first layer, when the whole first layer is done, we're going to be putting them on top in layers as well, right after another. Put them together like little sausages right next to each other. Perfect. Keep on rolling, kid. Good job.
Okay.
All right, baby, you're doing such a beautiful job. I'm just making a pile of cabbages for you here. So I know you ate one piece. How did it taste, honey?
It tasted very good, very sour, a little bit spicy, literally just like you said.
Sauerkraut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very yummy.
So you can imagine that, so, you know, it's filled with probiotics. Unfortunately, once it's cooked in on a stove, it's gonna lose that live probiotic property to it. However, the good enzymes are still gonna be there. So our ancestors knew a thing or two about healthy foods. And I just hope and pray that your generation continues this tradition of homemade good food and not rely on processed junk that you find in middle aisles, if you know what I mean.
But ramen is delicious. Though.
Sara, no, it's not.
Say what you want.
If you make it homemade, maybe, but otherwise it's filled with nastiness. Remember, God foods versus laboratory foods. There's a difference.
If God didn't want Skittles, he would have smite them off the earth.
Oh my goodness, you're not helping. You're not helping. All right, I think I have to go get another cabbage from the basement.
Yes, you do.
All right, see you soon. Okay, so this is the last one, honey?
Mm-hmm.
Nicely done. Okay, so if you take a look at the cabbage. Is there any cabbage left, honey?
Yeah, there's a couple of pieces.
So do me a favor, take them apart. And I know they're probably gonna like fall apart in your hands, but just take a few leaves and put on top of all of these cabbage rolls. Just a few. You don't have to do a lot. They're gonna add a nice moisture and kind of seal everything together, especially because we have extra, why not? All right, just a few. And then, do you remember all that leftover zajarka, sofrito? We're gonna add that on top as well. And that also gonna give a really nice, that's perfect, that's good enough. So let's just add all of that sofrito on top. Do you wanna wash your hands? All right, baby, go ahead, put all that on top, spread it evenly. Yeah, sprinkle around, just like that, very nice. And again, that's gonna add a really nice flavor to everything. And it's just gonna be wonderful. I'm telling you, it's just gonna be wonderful. It's very nostalgic dish, kind of traditional for many cultures, but also it was always made in the fall or in the winter because look, it's mostly root vegetables and stored up cabbage. You know, I remember when Mama used to make golubцы or anything else like that, she would put a little bit more rice, and simply because rice is always cheaper than meat. And at that time, feeding family of 9 people was tough. Go ahead, grab a little bit of olive oil and sprinkle a little bit of olive oil on top just as well. Not too much, just kind of like, yeah, that's good. All right. And remember that bay leaf we have? So grab a couple of bay leaves and also stick them. They're gonna release nice flavor as it's cooking. And guess what? We're gonna put this on the stove, but I feel like we need to add a little bit of water to it. Why? Because even though the meat is gonna produce a lot of moisture and the cabbage is moist, but I don't want anything to stick to the bottom. So go ahead, grab the chaynik that's over there and just pour probably like a half a cup to a cup of water. Just sprinkle around. Not too much, not too much. Yep. A little bit around, not too much. A little bit on that side, and that's it. That's it. It's gonna cook and steam at the same time. All right, we're gonna put a cover on and go in on the stove. All right, baby, start the stove. And as soon as it comes to a boil, we're gonna lower the heat really, really low. And we're gonna allow this to cook by steam. As soon as the rice is done, by then the meat will be done as well. And guess what? The dish is ready. All right, it's been 35 minutes cooking. Let's see if it's done. Looks wonderful. All right, so scoop a piece. So as soon as the rice is done, then it should be done as well. Do you want to put a cover back on just because even if though the heat is off, it still should sit and rest and kind of soak up all that liquid, because we put about a cup of liquid on the bottom, remember that? Mm-hmm. And you can always add more, by the way. It doesn't have to be just a cup. It's just you don't want them to boil too much. You want them to steam, but you don't want them to burn either, so keep an eye on it. All right, go ahead, babe, cut through, and it should be, oh, it looks good. All right, make sure the rice is nice and soft. It's gonna be super hot, so let's give it a taste. Ooh, let's give it a taste.
Hold on, it is really hot.
I know. All right, let's give it a taste, babe. It's done, it's good. All right, so we need to, oh, it's hot, huh? Mm-hmm. So this is turned off now, and let it sit and rest for the 10-15 minutes. Let it all those juices reabsorb. It's going to be delicious. But you should probably put a little bit of sour cream on top, because you will not be Slavic enough unless you put some sour cream, homemade sour cream. Right on top, little dollop. You don't need a lot. And that way you can sample everything. A little bit of meat, a little bit of rice. How is that? Is it good? Mm-hmm. Is it hot? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you need to let it cool off.
That is very good.
It is good, huh? All right.
That is very good.
Excellent. Okay, so sarma is done and ready, and it's resting, and we're going to be serving it for dinner tonight. Mm-hmm. So thank you for helping me in the kitchen.
It's been a pleasure of mine.
I hope you learned how to make sarma.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, friends, on this note, I hope you are encouraged and try something new.